Do not pull down on the safety bar, please. I will lower it for you.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. We thought it only fair to warn you that the show you're about to see may disturb you. It may shock you. It may even horrify you. You've been warned.
For a show set primarily during summer vacation, Phineas and Ferb did a lot of Halloween episodes. One Good Scare How to Do It was one of my favorite episodes of season 1. The other sort of Halloween-y one was The Monster of Phineas and Ferbenstein. Season 3 gave us That's the Spirit and The Curse of Candace. And then, in true season 4 fashion, we got 4 different Halloween-themed episodes. 3 in 2013, Drusselstine-Ween, Face Your Fear, and Terrifying Tri-State Trilogy of Terror. And then, finally, 1 in 2014. Oh man, did they save the best for last. Dan Povenmire had said time and time again that they would love to do a zombie episode, but they could never figure out how, eventually teasing that they had finally found a way and that it would definitely be happening. I'm not sure if this was referring to Trilogy of Terror or Pharmacists though, since Pharmacists was produced so much later. Since it was later in the run, Night of the Living Pharmacists is an episode I don't hear nearly as many people outside of the fandom talk about. And while I think Summer Belongs to You is a perfect episode that's a distillation of everything people love about Phineas and Ferb in the first place, I think Night of the Living Pharmacist is actually my favorite episode of the entire series. Like I said in my video about the upcoming revival of Phineas and Ferb, I think all of the best episodes of the show involve Phineas, Ferb, and their friends actually having to deal with some sort of conflict. The story for Night of the Living Pharmacist was done by Joshua Pruitt, Scott Peterson, Jim Bernstein, and Danny Vitre. Josh Pruitt and Scott Peterson would go on to make the Last Kids on Earth series for Netflix. This episode was produced at the height of the zombie zeitgeist, back when The Walking Dead was still huge. And the episode is an absolute love letter to the horror genre, with references to everything from Night of the Living Dead and Rocky Horror to Left 4 Dead and Shaun of the Dead. Now, obviously, it's Phineas and Ferb. Nobody actually dies here. Unless it's Star Wars.
Not a bad set, guys. Only 1 death and 1 dismemberment. Not bad for a Wednesday.
I don't like him either.
Oh, I knew the value would go up. It's such a peaceful place. People like to think. Wait, what's this? The value is totally dropping. 0!
And maybe also Candace Against the Universe?
Alright, well thank goodness we're okay. Oh, yeah, maybe not now. Yeah, definitely not now.
Doofenshmirtz's Gone Wrong doesn't kill anyone. It just creates a contagion spread through static electricity. Still, it's an amazing horror special, and I'm a strong advocate for kid-friendly horror. This absolutely kick-ass opening title sequence was inspired by Saul Bass's opening credits from several Alfred Hitchcock films, and the score by Danny Jacob is an homage to Bernard Herrmann's score for North by Northwest. Danny Jacob first worked with Disney Television Animation writing the theme songs for Kim Possible, Lilo and Stitch the series, and The Emperor's New School, where he was also the main composer. Jacob's score is as important to Phineas and Ferb as the musical numbers, and I'm so happy that the Candace Against the Universe soundtrack was able to feature some of his compositions. She's looking to earn her emotional bravery patch by finally telling Phineas that she has a crush on him. But that's easier said than done. Phineas and Ferb are building a rubberization ray so that they can bounce around the city, not unlike when they use that giant rubber band ball to bounce around the world. There's a new water tower being dedicated right next to Doofenshmirtz Evil Incorporated, and of course Doofenshmirtz is expected to do something to interrupt the ceremony. I love how Alka isn't even bothering to do any detective work anymore. It's just, yeah, Doof is up to something, you're gonna go over there anyways. Meanwhile, Candace is looking at magazines at the Super Duper Mega Store, and wants to be cool just like the models. Stacy's trying to set up her new home entertainment system, and her obliviousness as the apocalypse unfolds might be the funniest part of this entire episode.
I want to keep the DVD and the VCR, but I don't think there are enough holes.
Why do you still need the VCR? I mean, unless you want to watch the pre-special edition versions of Star Wars.
Someone said he shot first, but I could have sworn it was the other guy.
Oh, by the way, Kelly Hu was actually in Jason Takes Manhattan. Anyways, Candace ends up going over to Vanessa's for a cool girl sleepover. Doofenshmirtz wants to use an Inator to make Roger ugly so that his popularity rating will plummet. How does this help Doof take over the tri-state area? I don't know. But this Inator takes an insane amount of power for some reason, and Doof only has one functioning wall outlet in the lab. Meanwhile, Phineas, Ferb, and their friends have a blast bouncing around the city before Isabella stops over at the Fireside Girls Annex. Isabella tells the girls that she's having a hard time telling Phineas about her feelings. Meanwhile, at Vanessa's sleepover, they're gonna watch a foreign film, and Candace is really excited to be at a slumber party with cool girls. And when Doofenshmirtz comes back, Perry's already escaped from his trap, but Doof requests that they keep the noise down so they don't disturb Vanessa's slumber party. And Perry comes up with a thematically appropriate solution. But Doof throws a couch cushion at Perry, misses, it hits the Inator, and the Inator fires. But of course, Roger is now a zombie clone of Doofenshmirtz.
That's just the universe making a joke at my expense.
Isabella catches up to Phineas and is about to tell him about her feelings for him, but then she hears Mrs. Fireside screaming. This is when they realize that the contagion is transmitted through static electricity, and that their rubberized skin is serving as an insulator.
Let's bounce, guys. Literally.
Later, girls! Gotta bounce! Literally!
And we get a fun little cameo from the late, great George A. Romero. Oh hey, there's Jeremy! I hadn't noticed that he was there before this rewatch. I love how he's just chilling there until he gets infected. Oh, and we also see Django's dad! Phineas, Ferb, Buford, and Baljeet make it back to the house and find that the rubberization ray was trashed.
Why is that lady wearing a goat head?
Art isn't art unless it's difficult.
Ugh, they'd probably think Escape from Tomorrow is a surrealist masterpiece instead of the inept, miserable garbage fire it is. And of course, Vanessa thinks that the pharmacist at the door is her dad at first, but she quickly realizes that something's amiss. Stacy's not the only one who's oblivious to the situation though, because Linda and Lawrence also have no idea what's going on. And then society crumbles. Linda and Lawrence get turned into pharmacists, and they completely take over the Doofenshmirtz building. And this is when Phineas finally realizes that Isabella hasn't been with them this whole time.
Ah! Ah! You think chill out, you're fine. I'm vindicated.
Lots of me.
Ooh, time for a cliffhanger ad break. If you're living in the Brighton area and are looking for help planning an unforgettable party, look no further than Inhabifying Events by Molly McGee. No matter what your event size or what your theme is, Molly's party planning expertise will make sure your next party is magical and unforgettable. Services include decorating, catering, entertainment, and more. And she's available for weddings, birthdays, bat mitzvahs and bar mitzvahs, school dances, ribbon cuttings, ice cream socials, funerals? Wait, Molly, that might not be the best idea. So don't delay, call Molly today. Operators are standing by. And be sure to watch The Ghost of Molly McGee Season 2 on Disney Channel, Disney XD, Disney Now, and Disney+.
I'm just kidding. It's me. But those guys are annoying, aren't they?
But then Doof realizes Vanessa is in danger and goes to save her.
Or she could turn into me. That's every child's worst nightmare.
Much like Summer Belongs to You, this is a great episode to showcase Phineas and Isabella's relationship. Phineas is so worried about her. It's so sweet. Look at the bags under his eyes. He looks like Dipper Pines, he's so stressed. And so they make a plan to head across town to Fireside Girl headquarters. Stacy continues to be oblivious, and holy crap, Sean and Ed! So I didn't really get super into horror movies until middle school, and it was specifically because of a friend of mine who had me watch Shaun of the Dead. So seeing Sean and Ed show up in Phineas and Ferb was really cool. I really love how the music here changes into an electronic, almost kind of dubstep-esque sound. It's like something you'd hear at a haunt event like Horror Nights or Scary Farm. Again, Danny Jacob, you are a legend. And in perhaps the most terrifying part of this whole episode, Phineas and Ferb see the effect the contagion has had on the agents of Alka. Perry does the unsung hero bit and saves them. Doof gets thrown out of his own building by his zombie creations.
Typical, yeah. Turn on your creator. You guys are all cliche. I'm just letting you know.
And Vanessa's cool friends display a complete lack of understanding to the certain rules to surviving a horror movie.
We should totally split up. I'm gonna go hide in the bathroom where it's safe.
See, if they watch more domestic horror films, they know.
See, Candace gets it.
Everybody's a suspect!
No, Randy, this is a zombie movie. How did they get into the bathroom? Meanwhile, the Fireside Girls have also been looking for Isabella. Phineas is dismayed to find out that she's not there, and Buford starts losing it again. But it seems like Isabella hid out in some underground tunnels or something.
I'm right here!
Isabella! I'm so sorry we lost track of you.
There's no time. We have a job to do. Ooh.
And we get a catchy song about math.
Cha-cha-cha. That is a mighty upbeat song for a desperate situation.
They make a break for it, and Perry continues to do everything he can to protect them.
Here they come!
Left 4 Dead reference! But the other Fireside Girls end up getting separated from the rest of the group, and Isabella is helpless to watch as they get turned into pharmacists. They have to block the door, and Phineas's protective armor gets ripped. Isabella gives them the patch to use, and obviously I'm bringing this up because it'll come back later. Unfortunately for them, they didn't notice a couple of pharmacists still hanging out in the lobby area, and one of them touches Baljeet's face. Buford, now hopeless, decides that at this point he's best used as bait, and so he sacrifices himself to save his friends.
You know, he really could have been bait without taking his clothes off.
Yeah.
Doof picks Perry up in a helicopter, and Phineas, Ferb, and Isabella end up cornered. But at that moment, Vanessa and Candace open the door, and we get a Rocky Horror reference.
Candace?
Phineas!
Candace!
Isabella! Ferb!
Janet! Dr. Scott! Janet! Ah, Rocker!
Absolutely perfect. The infected bear ended up climbing into the helicopter and fighting Doofenshmirtz, and ultimately it ends up crashing. Isabella suggests that water neutralizes static, and they come up with a plan to build a giant sprinkler using the water tower.
Was it worth the time it took to build a scale model?
Totally.
But I wouldn't give for that kind of single-minded focus. Hey, what's that over there?
Making a note for the ADHD representation video. And one by one, Candace, Perry, and Vanessa all become infected.
No! Yippee-ki-yay, you pharmacist freaks!
Again with the clothes.
The line starts to have a whole bunch of zombies crawling on it in a way that doesn't seem possible. And then it breaks. Thankfully, they put a brake on their skyway bucket and manage to land on the stairs. At this point, it's an absolutely harrowing race to the top.
We're not gonna make it.
No, you and Isabella will make it.
And with that, Ferb sacrifices himself.
Ferb, I can't just...
I know, but the only way to save him is to keep going.
Phineas and Isabella continue on, and Isabella realizes that with how dire things are, it's now or never.
But, Phineas! Phineas! I like you!
I like you too, Isabella.
No, I mean, I like you!
Wow, I mean, gosh, I've always felt, well, get away from her!
Phineas! No!
Go!
Lots of me.
There, you happy, YouTube? God. Isabella has to pull it together and save Phineas, her friends, and all of Danville. One of them touches her just as she's able to press the button, but the vortex sprayer changes everybody back. Everyone's memory seems to be a little foggy though, conveniently meaning that both of them forgot Isabella's confession. And I guess she's just never getting this patch if Actor Age is any indication. There was an alternate ending that got to rough storyboards.
The only thing that sticks out in my brain is your patch. I don't know what happened, but I do know that I'll hang on to this patch for the rest of my life.
Oh, Phineas.
Am I interrupting something?
An even earlier version that was planned had Phineas kiss Isabella after she confessed, but it was cut for being too much. Again, I think this is likely because they wanted to keep it ambiguous if Phineas actually had any kind of feelings for Isabella, so that Actor Age could work. But I feel like it's pretty hard to deny that there's something there that Phineas doesn't consciously realize until he's confronted with it.
Good.
Isabella!
Hit it, Carl!
Wait!
But I hate that they ended up cutting the hug at the end. Even if they didn't want to have them kiss, that hug was something that was seriously earned.
Everyone seems to be noticeably lab coat free.
At least everyone within the walled city of Danville.
Okay, clearly I missed something. When did Danville become Trollberg?
Yeah, too bad about the rest of civilization.
We still don't know how this got fixed, because yes, this special was entirely canon. So that was Night of the Living Pharmacists. This episode has everything. It's hilarious, it's just the right amount of scary that kids can probably watch it without being too freaked out by it. Although honestly, there's still some moments that are pretty freaky. Maybe not the freakiest we've gotten from Disney TVA, but that's a video for another Halloween. Even though I wish we had gotten that Phineas and Isabella hug, this is still such an emotionally satisfying episode in every possible way that Actor Age failed to deliver. There's an actual conflict and stakes, not just the fate of Danville, but deeply personal ones too. The Fireside Girls are helpful and encouraging, Phineas and Isabella interact for a good portion of the episode, and most importantly, Isabella gets to actually have agency here. getting to be a kick-ass, smart, and resourceful leader, and she gets to be the one to tell Phineas about her crush on him, as opposed to Baljeet casually mentioning it to him and then brushing it aside, saying,
"We are guys. We do not talk about feelings."
And we get Candace and Vanessa's friendship continuing to grow, Doof and Perry have some fun moments, there's Stacy's fun side runner, and I'll always be a sucker for Doof being a great dad to Vanessa. Most of the main cast gets time to shine as we see what each of them would do in a zombie apocalypse scenario. Overall, it's just a fantastic episode of Phineas and Ferb and a fantastic horror special.
Horror movies. Scary, but so unbelievable.
Day after day on end, wait for the downward trend. How such a horrid scene, 'cause now we're stuck in quarantine. Now we're stuck in quarantine. Now we're stuck in quarantine.